Anyways, so for those of you who are wondering what my setup is, one of the guys asked what were the options I use for my force feedback. So I'll show you guys my settings. I'll try to adjust these as close to real life as possible. I like simulators, so I'll try to make these as similar as possible. So here's what I did. There's one setting, inverse force feedback. I believe it was off when by default it was off. Basically what invert force feedback does is, you know, when you're drifting, the wheel, it counter steers. Like when your car's going straight and it counter steers, you're going around the corner, so you're taking a left turn and your car spins out, right? And your wheel would turn towards the direction it corrects itself. That's what invert force feedback does. So I turned it on. And then the center spring scale, I turned it off. Because in a real car, if you're stopped, your wheel doesn't just turn itself back to the center. So that's why I turned it off. Maybe if you want, you could turn it a little bit. Actually, no, it's up to you, but think about it. In a real car, if you're stopped, the wheel wouldn't turn itself back to center by itself. And when you're going, the wheel would center itself anyway. And on this simulator, it does that. So if I'm stopped, the wheel doesn't move. But if I go, the steering wheel would recenter itself. What else? Steering sensitivity. I set it at 100. I set the main setting to 100. Main setting, let me open it up. I set the main setting at 900 degrees because in a real car you turn the steering wheel more than 180 degrees. I think 900. So basically these are settings I did. And then I after I set at 900 over there, I started playing with these settings here. Here's a demonstration of the wheel sensitivity. On the top right corner, that shows the amount of steering that is in the game. And you might notice that if I turn the steering wheel all the way around on this thing, there's a certain point where the steering wheel on the screen stops turning, but I can keep turning. This wheel marker tells you that the wheel on the car is still actually turning. To prove it, see this is the point where the wheel stops moving on the screen. And I still can continue correcting. See, I can make it turn even tighter. See, I just made it turn in a tighter circle compared to, say, now. Where's the point? Well, see, to this point, look, I'm already on this side of the track, and I might reach the other side. Not really. Well, I touched the line there. See, previously it wasn't, the circle wasn't white. So I just proved to you that this car can still turn more, even if the wheel on the screen has turned, because that thing is telling me I'm still turning more. So this is on my default settings. Notice how this is pretty linear compared to that. So however much I turn is however much that ticker turns too. So everything's pretty linear. Now I'll show you what I mean by linear. So if I switch the settings to, let's see, I'm looking through my phone right now. So if I set it, the sensitivity all the way up, notice how on the ticker on top, the top's going to move pretty fast. Oops. Notice how the top moves pretty fast. But then towards the very end, look, I can still turn the wheel all the way around, but the ticker barely even moves now. See that? I can move it all this much, yet that ticker doesn't move that much. So that this steering is too sensitive. If I make a small input, the car's gonna turn a whole lot. So let me set it again. It's hard to show you on video, so if I were to do a video demonstration, it would be hard for you guys to see any difference. You just have to feel it. So if you have a wheel, try it out and you will realize that it's pretty sensitive. It doesn't look like much if I record it for you guys. If you guys want, I can record it for you guys how it looks like while driving on 200 and on 0. Let me know in the comments if you want to see that. But so I'm gonna set it to 0 now, and now notice how this marker reacts. So I'm gonna turn the steering wheel, and this thing barely moves now. So this is way too much. So if I were to go out of control, if I were to spin out, then I would not even be able to correct the spin fast enough, because this I have to steer this wheel a whole lot to make any small correction. Yeah, you may have noticed that I turn it all this much, yet nothing happens. Yet at the very last moment, just before the steering wheel goes all the way to the bottom, that ticker also moves super fast. But on the top, it barely moves. See that? Let me get further from it so you guys can see the whole picture. Let me go to the bottom, dead left to all the way to dead right. All of a sudden that ticker just stopped. And I'm just going to speed up again, see? And slow, then fast. So that's why the sweet spot is at 100. These are all not linear. So the top is like is slow compared to the wheel. Also at the end, it's fast compared to the wheel. So when I set it at 100, this ticker is going to be very linear. However much I turn the wheel is however much the ticker goes. It won't be like fast and slow and then slow and fast. So that's why I set it at 100. So, in case you guys are also wondering what my assists are. Here are how I set my assists. I turned everything off possible. And sometimes, depending on the car, I change it between manual and manual with clutch. Because some cars, like the Ferrari 458, they don't use a stick shift, they just use paddle shifters. So that's why sometimes I set on manual, but other cars that I know that use sticks, say the Caterham, have a stick, and so that's why I use with clutch for that. And then the steering I set to normal, because it's really hard to steer with simulation. It's hard to at the end of a drift. It's hard to straighten out, so that's why I set it on normal. I don't want assisted. That it kind of tries correcting your steering. Basically, starts steering for you a little bit, so I don't like it. So normal is just right. I could drift easier on normal. The videos I posted so far actually were on simulated, so they look a little bit crap. But now that I have it in normal, I drift much better. And I still keep rewind on, because sometimes I make a big boo-boo and I crash in the wall and I damage everything because my damage is on. So basically I rewind it so I can fix my damage. So that's how my setup is right now. So from now on out, whatever video you see would have these settings, and sometimes it will be on manual, sometimes it will be manual with clutch. But otherwise, yeah, that's what my setup is. Thanks for watching.